From the moment he hopped on Twitter, President Donald Trump has had a lot to say, and a lot of different ways to say it. A lot of the verboseness tracks all the way back to the beginning of his career as a celebrity and game show host. He likes to make sure people know exactly how he feels at all times, which usually results in discussions regarding being the greatest or why someone else deserves to be locked in an underground containment cell. Anything falling between those two is rare, but it can happen. A great deal of public addresses, whether on Twitter or in person, involve negative statements that Trump feels need to be heard by all. So let's dive deep and pick some of the greatest from the past decade or so. Hello fellow friends and philosophers, and welcome back to the most mind-bending channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. I'm your voice in the void, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 Donald Trump freakouts. If you're enjoying these top 10 lists, make sure to check out our LBQ top 10 playlist for more. Also, we've got a brand new channel that we're launching very soon called Top 10 Central Dark. It features Lucy and Joss reacting to some of the scariest of jump scares. So if that sounds like it's up your alley, go check that out as well. Wicked. Let's get started. Coming in at number 10, we've got a bald eagle attack. All right, let's kick this off with something truly unique. Back in late 2015, Donald Trump was getting a lot of attention for entering the presidential race. Starting out as a dark horse, it became more and more apparent that he was indeed the frontrunner for the Republican Party. Time magazine put together a photo shoot from him and decided that it needed a classic American symbol, a live bald eagle. Embodying freedom, power, and baldness, this creature is the ideal patriotic image. But they're also fearsome predators with powerful claws. After snapping a few shots of Trump with the eagle perched on his arm, the two subjects took a seat at his desk. This is where the eagle started acting testy. Trump reached for a bottle of aspirin, which didn't sit well with the bird. It lunged at the future president, resulting in an image that would be impossible to replicate. Trump took it in stride, but look at that face and tell me he wasn't freaked out. Classic. Coming in at number 9, we've got a fake news contest. Anyone who's tuned into American politics in the past 4 years knows that President Trump has a long-standing feud with major media outlets. When he announced his candidacy, most media dismissed him as a sideshow of sorts. Then when he was inaugurated, the media, as is their job, reported on his activities as president. Their harsh coverage convinced him that they were out to get him and therefore were fake news. Remember the first time you heard the term fake news? Ah, memories. This back and forth never stopped either. Trump and the news media continued to fire shots at each other every single day and will likely do so forever until the end of time. Such is life. But the president really turned some heads when he announced that there would be a contest held for a prestigious prize. That's right, the first and only fake news trophy. Whoever he deemed to be the best at spreading bad information about, and I quote, everyone's favorite president, would walk away with the award. A very interesting move from a very interesting politician. Oh, and Fox News was excluded from the running. I wonder why that was. Coming in at number 8, we've got Obama's birth certificate. Speaking of fake news, back during the Obama era, a lot of folks were very unhappy about the sitting president. A popular method of attempting to delegitimize Obama's presidency was to claim that his birth certificate was faked and that he was not in fact born in the United States of America. And one of the leading supporters of this debunked idea was Donald Trump. On multiple occasions, he publicly claimed that Obama was not only unfit to be president, but illegitimately voted in. He even reached out to different intelligence sources to try and prove it. Trump tweeted out that an extremely credible source had reached out to his office with proof that the certificate was fake, but nobody ever produced any such evidence. Such is life. We'll get back to Obama in a second. Coming in number 7, we've got the Ebola panic. Oh, this actually has quite a bit to do with Obama too. Back in 2014, there was a different virus to worry about. An outbreak of Ebola was making its way through West Africa, and Donald Trump did not seem to think Obama was working hard enough to stop it. This resulted in a Twitter-based tirade calling the then president's mental faculties into question. All of the hallmarks of a presidential Trump tweet are there: random capitalization, odd use of quotation marks, disparaging of public figures, the whole lot. He called for all flights from affected areas to be canceled and called leaders incompetent for accepting patients into the country. However, while Ebola is still a problem in West Africa, the concerns about its impact on the United States might have been a little overblown. Coming in at number 6, we've got social media media regulation. For a man who has managed to use social media mostly to his advantage over the last half-decade, Trump really had a fiery reaction to new policies put in place by the companies. When platforms like Twitter started fact-checking political tweets, some of the president's own posts got flagged. They didn't get taken down, mind you, they got flagged for containing potentially misleading information. Apparently, President Trump didn't appreciate this much and decided to let his followers know all about his discontent on Twitter. Even though social media is cited as a major contributor to his success as a politician, President Trump often takes issue with the internet-based platforms. Through his tweets, one can see that he believes that social media has a left-leaning bias, resulting in the silencing of conservative opinions. And yet, here we are, reading Donald Trump's stream of consciousness reaction to changing policies as the President of the United States. Coming in at number 5, we've got Obama's re-election. We're back to some Obama issues because there just seem to be so many. Back in 2012, Barack Obama won another term as President of the United States. There were some strong reactions to this. Leading the pack was, you guessed it, Donald Trump. He took to Twitter and unleashed a flurry of posts demanding justice and fairness and revolution. All things he seems to, well, find people demanding of him lately. Trump posted about the fact that Obama lost the popular vote but still won the election. Where have we heard that since? He also called folks to action, saying that people should rise up and march on Washington. Interesting, don't you think? He went on to say a revolution was needed and that the Electoral College was a travesty. Wild. You just don't hear those talking points anymore now, do you? Coming in at number 4, we've got Jonathan SWAN. The biggest test of Trump's presidency so far is arguably the coronavirus pandemic and the government's response. The world looked to America to see how they were handling the outbreak and didn't see too much in terms of inspiring results. This came to a head when Trump mischaracterized the United States' death rate during an Axios interview. Interviewer Jonathan SWAN stated that the US had recently seen a surge in COVID deaths with a rate of over 1,000 deaths per day at the end of July. Trump was quick to rebut this using some lovely printed charts, and it became clear that each individual was using a different metric. The president was referring to deaths in proportion to confirmed cases, while SWAN was talking about deaths in proportion to population. Thus began a back and forth about which metric was the right one to use and what that meant for America. Oh boy. Coming in at number 3, we've got the longest press conference. In February of 2017, a presidential press conference was scheduled. President Trump was supposed to announce the new Labor Secretary, Alexander Acosta. It could have been a quick, painless affair, but it devolved into a 77-minute slog full of the president actively attacking members of the media, demanding that they sit down and be quiet while they asked questions. During this time, we retreated to many now famous quotes from President Trump. He called himself the least anti-Semitic and least racist person you've ever seen in your life. He sang a little Be Quiet song to the folks asking questions, and he claimed to know questions before they were even fully out of people's mouths. It's a fascinating press conference and a look at the president's MO. Coming in at number 2, we've got another Obama response. Come on, more Obama? Well, you better believe it. The 2020 Democratic National Convention saw plenty of anti-Trump sentiment. Most of it was expected. That seems to be the founding principle of the Democratic Party at this point. Get Trump out, and who needs policy beyond that, right? That aside, a prominent Democrat took the stage. Well, the virtual stage. In his speech, he decried President Trump's effort as a leader. Obama said, for close to 4 years now, he's shown no interest in putting in the work, no interest in finding common ground, no interest in using the awesome power of his office to help anyone but himself and his friends, no interest in treating the presidency as anything but one more reality show that he could use to get the attention he craves. Trump hasn't grown into the job because he can't. Goodness gracious, that's scathing. So how did Trump respond? Well, with a Twitter meltdown, of course. All caps. He spied on my campaign and got caught. Why did he refuse to endorse Slow Joe until it was all over, and even then was very late? Why did he try to get him not to run? There was some conspiracy posting as well, anything to discredit and demean the former president. You'd think after winning the presidency, Trump would be a little less apt to try to one-up Obama, but I guess not. And coming in at number 1, about that inauguration crowd. Speaking of Obama-Trump presidential rivalries, remember when President Trump was inaugurated? Remember the bustling crowds, the jam-packed lawns, the overflowing bleachers? No? Oh. Right. That was a fun first week in office, wasn't it? Instead of calling for Americans to band together and start heading down the path to, in his words, make America great again, President Trump decided that folks making fun of his inauguration crowd were fakes and frauds and needed to be debunked at all costs. Oh man, who remembers Sean Spicer? Gosh, that seems like decades ago. But yeah, everyone associated with the Trump campaign did their best to inflate the numbers, but a small amount of digging shows the stark contrast between the crowd sizes at Obama's inauguration and Trump's. Oh boy. Well, I hope you had fun on that little trip down memory lane. With the 2020 election drawing nearer and nearer, we can be sure that there'll be plenty more political freakouts in the coming days, on both sides, hopefully. Everyone loves a good dumpster fire. What do you think of the list? Did I leave out any good ones? Am I being a spineless liberal plant for voicing this video? Who's taking the presidency this year? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more aquatic ones from what if World War I never happened. Alfie Patton says, if World War I didn't happen, the American economic boom would not have happened. You're probably correct. Wars make money and America knows that well. Spiffy Gonzalez says, what if the French had even more twirly mustaches? The world wouldn't have a chance. Vive la moustache. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I fling myself into orbit, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more crazy credentials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.